Dear comrades, Kalispera. Our meeting is taking place on the eve of the 80th anniversary of the great victory of the Soviet people. Such a solemn, globally significant date is a reason for joy and jubilation of progressive human forces all over the earth. On these beautiful spring days, the sun and blossoming nature inspire us with everyday and historical optimism. But no matter how much we would like to blindly believe in the best, we must not forget about the incredible sacrifices made by the multinational people of the Soviet Union during the Great Patriotic War, and also by other peoples of Europe who did not surrender, including the Greek people, whose struggle against the Nazi occupation, led by the communists, became one of the most heroic pages of resistance in all of occupied Europe. 27 million Soviet citizens died in battle and under occupation. 2,000 cities, more than 70,000 villages, tens of thousands of factories and plants were destroyed. Only the adamant spirit of the Soviet people, born in the crucible of the October Revolution, was able to overcome the crushing weight of losses and suffering of the Soviet country. We won not only because the socialist economy of the USSR turned out to be more efficient and flexible than the enemy capitalist economies. We won because we were stronger in spirit, because the Soviet people knew for sure that they were not fighting for propaganda chimeras or for the enrichment of a miserable handful of explosion capitalists. They knew that they were fighting for a bright future for all of humanity, for a new, just, happy world. This gave the Soviet people the strength to accomplish the impossible. The Hitlerite hordes were stopped. 3/4 of all enemy divisions met an inglorious end of the Soviet-German front. Soviet troops liberated the enslaved people of Eastern Europe and finished off German Nazism in its lair in Berlin. Such a titanic price was paid for the great universal victory over fascism. Alas, this victory was not final. With great pain in our hearts, we must admit today, big capital, the original progenitor of the Brown Plague, has once again succeeded in sowing the poisonous spores of fascism throughout the world, especially in Europe. My once native country, Ukraine, is engulfed in war, and this war, provoked from Washington and London, has been prepared for a long time, all 30 years of so-called independence of Ukraine. The disastrous break with Russia, the distortion of historical truth, the insane glorification of Hitler's accomplices like Bandera and Shoshkevich, the inflating of nationalism, the renunciation of sovereignty in exchange for false promises from NATO, all this has led to the complete economic and social degradation of Ukraine. We see the same disgusting symptoms in the Baltics and Poland, and the countries of Western Europe, which have consistently destroyed democratic principles within themselves and exist today in conditions of pseudo-democracy and rapidly sliding towards fascism. The anti-people European regimes deliberately inspired and support the genocide of the territory of Ukraine that began in 2014, the genocide of the Ukrainian people. Otherwise, it is difficult to describe with an other concept that maniac obsession with which the European and until recently American government puppeteers throw their Kiev minions and driving hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians to certain death. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, by the end of last year, more than 1 million Ukrainians has died and been wounded during the obviously lost Ukrainian aggression against Russia. These deaths and injuries are on the conscience of the criminal Kiev regime and its masters. All this causes great regret and encourages maximum mobilization and consolidation of anti-fascist forces around the world. Of course, Russia the heir of the great liberation traditions of the Soviet Union, can and should lead the new anti-fascist international. Even now, the special military operation of the Russian armed forces on the territory of Ukraine is the most important epicenter of the fight against the reactionary forces of globalist capital. There are also other areas where our country is working to build a fair polycentric world order. We are waging this liberation struggle, remembering the exploits and sacrifices of our great ancestors, with the main goal of preventing a new world war, preventing the NATO from again causing a massacre that could take all of humanity with it. In this regard, we place great hopes on the support of the international liberation movement. Despite the fact that actions of the current Greek government are hostile towards Russia and, in my opinion, do not correspond to the interests of the Greek people, the inseparable historical connection between our countries, Russia and Greece, the friendship of our people, our common spiritual values, including our common victory over the historical evil of Nazism, all this is guarantee of the future normalization of our interstate relations. Thank you, comrades, for preserving the undistorted historical memory of the Second World War. I am confident that together we will be able to achieve a fair and sustainable peace and prevent planetary murder, as our great ancestors did 80 years ago. Long live the great victory. Evharisto.